if you're not advertising like this, I'm sure you're missing out on at least of a couple 100,000 a year. If you're doing probably 10, 20, 30 and not doing this, you're missing out on a lot more. So this is the best advertising strategy for coaches in 2025. Now, what I call this, in I'm coining the term, I haven't heard anybody else use this, but I'm calling it first principles advertising. Advertising is a system that gets people from point A, which is I don't know you, to point B, I just gave you money, what's next? By building everything from the ground up with the best inputs that drive the results. Let me explain. Now, a system is a series of inputs and outputs that are designed to create a result. So, an example is your advertising system, which is a book a call funnel, for example. You have ads that get people to click. You have the opt-in that get people to give you their name, phone number, email. The VSL and landing page that get people to book a call, and the call that get people to give you money. This is a system. You go from point to point to point to point. And at every part of the system, there's drop off. There's a ton of people that see your ad but don't opt in. There's some people who opt in but don't watch the VSL and don't book a call. There's people who book a call but don't show up. And this is a system from point A to point B. I don't know you to, hey, I just talked to you. I just gave you money. What's next? Now, let's talk about ads, right? So the idea of ads is to design it to get the right people interested enough to click. And opt-in is designed to be as simple as possible to get lead information off the strength of them being interested in what they get access to after entering their information. People don't just give you their name, phone number, email just for fun. They're giving it to you in exchange for something. They want to know what's next. They want to see your video. They want to learn more about your solution. The VSL and the landing page, this is designed to get people interested in booking a call, from the images to the copy to the case studies, even every input really. Then so every input that the people interact with needs to be designed and should be built to make them interested in booking a call. Now, a call is designed to build interest for a solution through pain, gain, then transitioning to a pitch, having built enough motivation for a person to look at the price and see it as worth it. So there's the price of change and the cost of change versus the benefit of change. And what they do is if you sell good enough, there's a threshold, a buying threshold. If you build up enough value, they hit a point where they're very likely to buy. And with that, when the value of the solution outweighs the cost, then they're gonna buy every time, as long as they perceive it like that. Now, persuasion is the act of using human nature to motivate a person towards an action. To simplify that, you're using the way people act and the way people are known to act based off of history to use these things to get someone to do something. So persuasion is in all of these. So the study of biases that humans have will really help you to know how to motivate people to take each next step in this system. The last step is where you get paid, so it's very good to learn how to get people there. So if you can get people from here to here, this is where you get paid. So all of these are where you're building up the point to where you can get paid. Now let's talk about ads. So I'm going to break down each and every one of these one by one. Ads. How do you make good ads based off of this first principles advertising system? First, you get very, very deep on your avatar, the person that you're selling their problems. The better you are at this, the easier everything else will be. Now, the ad copy. This is for your ads. Excuse me. Now that you know who you're speaking to, you need to speak about the things that will persuade them to click. And here's the structure. So you can look at that, pause and read. Now, next is recording. You want to make sure your visual hook is good. Not only that, but positioning is important. Meaning, if you're talking to people about becoming a better man, you shouldn't have an overweight person in a broke environment making the content, making the ads. Because if someone's like, you're supposed to be telling me how to get this, but you don't have that, so you have to be what you're selling. So you also want good lighting and good acting, as in tonality, etc. So when I make my ads, I'm able to speak clearly and then lean in to get people's interest and attention when it's needed. Different things like that play a huge role. Now, the next thing is editing. You want to make sure that editing lines up with your brand, meaning that if you're talking to professionals, you don't want to use emojis and childish edits from, very cheap editors who use Android emojis and things like that. And you want to make sure to use captions because they increase the amount of people that you can reach all over. Now, testing. It depends on your budget, but I like to test 3 different hooks with the same body and the same call to action, primary text, all of that. But with a bigger budget, you just test 10 hooks with the best everything with the same body, call to action, primary text, headline, all of that the same. But the only difference is 10 different hooks. That really lets you to get some efficiency in your ads, because you might spend $1,000 testing, okay, which one of these is the best. But if you only did 3, you probably would have seen, okay, you can get a cost per lead of $15. But if you do 10, you might have one of those who has a cost per lead of $6 or $5, and that literally makes your advertising 10 times more effective. So you could test from angle, audience, and then start testing the smaller things, like different headlines on the text, primary text, different things like that. And then once you get the front end ad side optimized, then you can start doing split tests on the funnel, as long as that's not the initial bottlenecks. Okay, now the next thing is the opt-in. So the threshold, I like talking about this, is very important. The threshold is a tipping point. If something reaches it, something happens. So the idea with opt-ins is you always want to compare the cost, the energy they spend to opt in versus the gain of opting in. When you put enough motivation through curiosity, urgency, etc., people hit the threshold and end up opting in. That means you boost their motivation enough for them to feel like opting in is worth it. But if they're just scrolling, they see your ad, okay, that's pretty interesting. They see the opt-in and you're asking for a whole bunch of questions. They're like, I don't feel like doing all this, and then they click off. Now, the next thing is the headline. The headline needs to be consistent with what they get on the other side of opting in. So, with this, you're saying, okay, if they're seeing a free training on the page that they see once they opt in, it's like, get instant access to this free training now, or something like that. Now, ease. The harder it is to opt in, the less likely it is for people to do it, and it's human nature. So these are things, that go high level, allow for people's information. It auto populates, which makes it more likely for them to opt in, and it's called sticky contact. So it will autofill name, phone number, email for them, make it easier. Now, the next thing is field order. You always, with any form, want to order the fields so that people fill it out from the easiest to hardest, so that the sunken cost bias or fallacy causes them to be more invested in finishing, since they already made so much progress. So if you do a whole bunch of any easy things, okay, they're like halfway through, so once they see that hard thing, it's not worth it to click off, because they're like, I already did this much, I might as well finish it. And that's the idea there. And then speed, attention spans are lowering, and that's pretty much the same as people's patience. So you want to make sure that your page loads quick too. Now, VSL and funnel. So headline should be speaking directly to your dream buyer and their pain point, and they need to point to your VSL. So meaning, your headline is getting them interested enough to click on the VSL. The VSL is getting them interested enough to book a call, and that's the format there. Now, the next thing is a thumbnail. This should be quality, and it should generate curiosity in viewers. Now, the VSL, this speaks to the pain and motivates them to book a call. Here's the structure that I use. It's proven structure. So you see hook, big promise, agitation, paradigm shift, credibility story, solutions, the offer, proof, guarantee, call to action. So if you want access to this document, you can also book a call with me. Let me know that you want access to this, and I'll send it to you when you get on the call with me, as long as you're qualified to get on the call. Now, excuse me, I need to clear out my throat. So, one-step booking. Don't have them click a button to book on the next page. Just add calendars in place of buttons. Easy, simple enough, simple as that. As you can see in my funnel, I only have one button, and it doesn't lead to another page that they'll have to load to. Guess what it does? Just scrolls them to the bottom where this calendar already is, and then the rest are just calendars. Now, copy and proof. Now, you have to order every word that is under the VSL towards getting them to book a call. Then prove that booking a call is valuable to them through social proof in your competence. So let's give some examples here. So all of these words under here are designed to get you to book a call with me. As you can see, why apply? We literally guarantee we'll add value to your business, or we'll pay for wasting your time. Simple as that. 5 years in business, what that taught me, giving you examples of how my solution works that you'll get access to on the call, show an example of how valuable this thing is through showing you how a multi-millionaire thinks the same thing as me and thinks this is the most valuable thing in your business, which lets you know, okay, maybe you should book a consultation so that you can find out what the bottleneck in your business is. Then showing you more proof, how I literally helped this guy get $166,000 cash collected, another $100,000 financed that month, which was a $260,000 month. As you can see, this was the cash collected, and this was my rev share off of that month. Now, showing you even more, diving into this case study, showing you some of the SOPs I built for them, different things like that, so you can see how experienced I am, and then showing you even more of my experience, how I have experience in all types of domains, multiple testimonials, then even more copy, talking to you specifically about why it's so important to get this free consultation. So apply. There's going to be a link in the description. But that's the idea there. Now the call. So I have this document with sales notes that show you how to frame a call, and it really goes deep into sales. It's a deep document. Maybe I'll click on it for a second. I'll click on it for just a second so you can see just a little bit. I won't show too much. But if you want this full document, this also has some more stuff from Bottleneck Learning that you can get access to. I will send it to you if you're a qualified prospect for me and you book a call. So if you book a call, free constraint consultation, you're a coach, and you're making more than $10,000 a month, I'll send this to you when we get on the call. Just remind me. I hope you have a blessed day. There's a link in the description to speak with me if you're a coach and you're looking to scale and you want to find out what your constraint is, which is the most important thing holding you back from growing even more, that I can tell you what it is and then tell you how to solve it. And then from there, if I believe you're a good fit, I'll let you know about our Capital Partner Program, CPP. So hope you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.